Welcome to this short screencast demonstrating the application versioning feature in GlassFish Open Source Edition 3.1 Milestone 1. This is a new feature which was contributed by a France-based company called Serli. A typical thing that developers can do with a command line with asadmin is to deploy a WAR file, in this case a simple web application. You can then ask asadmin to list the applications and see that the foo web application is listed there. And actually go to the web page on the /foo context and see that the JSP-based application is available. The second thing you may want to do next is to deploy a new version of the same application. And in this case, it would be foo with changes. And still foo.war is the artifact that you deploy. When you do this, you still have just one application. This new version has just overridden the older one. Still untagged, but this one is based on a servlet. So this is where you can start using the -- name equals foo column, and this is where you have a qualifier, say beta 1.0, to say that this is a different version of the same application foo. And the artifact here is foo_beta 1.0 war. So if you list applications, you will see that there is not only the foo web application, but also the beta 1.0. The next thing you can do is show the status of the initial foo web application. So use the show command status and see that this one was disabled by the deployment of the beta version. And indeed, if you go to the browser, you can actually refresh and see that this is yet another new version, which is a Pojo based. And this is beta 1.0 version. Then you can deploy with a new version of the beta. So still that foo column beta -1.1, but this time you want to deploy it but not enable this. So use the -- enabled equals false option and deploy the target, which is beta 11.war. Oops, I guess I'm missing here the deploy command. So we deploy this, and now if we show the component status for foo is still disabled, you can see that we now have 3 versions deployed. The last one actually uses not just the web container, but also the EJB container. But if we reload, we still have the old page. So to get to the new version, you can simply enable foo column beta 1.1. And now when you reload, you actually have the new version, beta 1.1, which is based on an EJB 3.1 Lite. So it's really fast to enable rather than deploy. So what we can do now is deploy this time yet another version, a release candidate. And since we don't specify the enable, the default is true. And when we deploy this, it completes. You can list the applications. We now have 4 versions of the same application, 1 untagged and 3 tagged, and the last one is actually using CDI, and it's available now. The other ones have been disabled when this one was deployed. So one of the last things we can do is undeploy all the beta versions, and we can use a wildcard to do this. So foo column beta wildcard, and see there's only the foo and the RC versions that are now listed. We can enable the older version, which will automatically disable the last one, and we're back to the servlet-based and untagged version. And finally, of course, we can undeploy all the versions of foo, tagged and untagged, using this syntax foo column star. And to prove we can still reuse the same context, which was /foo, we can deploy yet a totally different application, which is called magicfoo.war, which uses that same /foo context and is accessible from that same URL. So that concludes the demonstration. This is still early days. We're looking for your feedback, and certainly go to glassfish.org and get your copy of Milestone 1. Thanks for watching.